Welcome to the Grove, everybody. My name is Eli, and today I'm teaching you how to play Earth Express, kindly provided and published by Inside Up Games, and designed by Maxime Tardif, with art by Connor McGoy. Before we get started, please note that we're using a prototype copy of the game, so keep in mind that rules and components are subject to change, and be sure to turn on Klingon subtitles, where we will include any rule clarifications. As the name implies, Earth Express gives you the experience of playing a full game of Earth, but in 20 minutes or less. I promise I didn't believe them either when they told me that, but we played this game over a dozen times now, and our fastest game took only 11 minutes. To start, let's review how to set up the game. Begin by placing the Fauna board in the center of the table. Then shuffle the Fauna cards and place one on each of the two spaces on the board. The remaining Fauna cards will not be used this game and can be returned to the box. Once that's done, create the general supply by placing all seeds, trunks, canopies, and sprouts next to the Fauna board, and then shuffle all of the Earth cards to create the Earth stack. After that, shuffle the action tiles and place them face down near the Fauna board. If you want a game with a bit more of a challenge, you can include the ecosystem cards. Begin by placing the ecosystem board near the Fauna board, and then shuffle all of the ecosystem cards and place one on each of the two spaces on the board. After that, deal each player 2 ecosystem cards. Have them choose one to keep, and return all of the unused ecosystem cards to the box. Now let's move on to individual setup. Begin by handing out player aids. The final game will come with cards for each player to reference, but since we're playing with a prototype, we're using this pre-printed tile here. These outline the various icons in the game, the bonus actions you can take on your turn, and the steps for endgame scoring. After each player has an aid, choose a color and take the matching leaf tokens and sprout track, as well as 2 generic sprout tracks and 3 seeds, creating your personal reserve. Finally, each player should draw 7 cards from the Earth stack. And with setup out of the way, we're now ready to talk about what we'll be doing in this rapid fire game. Earth Express takes place over 5 rounds, each of which consists of a few steps, and the first 3 should be taken simultaneously. To begin, one player reveals a top tile from the action stack. This determines the actions that are available to you for this round, and we'll talk about these in more detail here shortly. Additionally, each player should draw 2 cards from the Earth stack, ensuring they have a total of 7 cards in their hand. Now this draw step is skipped in the first round since everyone starts with 7 cards. To begin your turn, you'll plant 2 cards within your tableau. The exception is round 5, where you'll only plant 1 card. Planting a card simply means you'll place it into one of the empty spaces in your tableau. But remember that once a card has been placed, it cannot be moved. Now let's discuss how these cards work. There are 4 types of flora cards: mushrooms, herbs, bushes, and trees, each with their own icon. These cards can have different effects that trigger when the matching action is taken. And if you're ever curious what these icons mean, be sure to use your player reference. Along with flora, there are also terrain cards denoted by this wavy symbol. On the top right of the flora and terrain cards, you'll see some small symbols that represent the card's habitat. Some cards don't have a specific habitat, while others can have one or multiple. Habitats don't have a specific effect, but often impact scoring, as certain ecosystems or other fauna might call for specific terrain types. Now that you know the different card types, let's review what each ability does. Remember that all of these are may effects, so you can choose if you want to take them. If you do activate them, you also get to choose how much of the reward you'd like to take. Black abilities must be resolved after you plant the card and before activating your tableau. These are one-time effects and are often pretty powerful. Brown abilities give you additional end-of-game scoring opportunities, and they're known as terrain cards. The red, blue, and yellow abilities, as well as multicolor abilities, all activate when you take the action matching their color. For multicolor cards, this means you'll get to activate them every round. Multicolor abilities also count towards conditions requiring specific color abilities. Now that you know the basics, let's discuss what the 3 actions actually do. After you finish planting, you'll choose one of the 2 available actions to take. The red action simply allows you to gain 2 seeds to your personal supply. The blue action allows you to add 3 sprouts to the flora on your island. Adding sprouts to your flora simply means you take one of these green sprout cubes and put them in an available space on your sprout tracker next to your flora. Be sure to check that your flora has sprout capacity, denoted by the small number printed inside the square on the bottom right of your card. If you're gaining multiple sprouts, you may divide them freely between your cards with available space. Remember that you lose any sprouts you don't have space for, so don't forget to plan ahead and make sure you don't let them go to waste. Lastly, we have the yellow action. This allows you to gain 2 growth, and for each growth gained, you'll take one of these little trunk pieces and place it on one of your cards. If this will put your plant at its maximum height, denoted by the brown number on the left of the space, you must instead use one of these canopies. These are a good thing, as flora that are capped on growth are typically worth more points during endgame scoring. To recap, the 3 actions allow you to gain seeds, sprouts, or growth. And seeds go to your personal supply, while sprouts and growth must be assigned to flora in your Tableau that have space for them. Now that you know how the main actions work, let's quickly cover the 3 free actions. As long as you aren't in the middle of resolving a card's ability, you can spend 2 sprouts or 2 growth to gain a seed, and you may do this as many times as you can afford to. Additionally, once per round, you may spend 2 seeds to refresh your hand. Simply choose any number of cards to discard, and then draw back up to 7. Finally, we have the Germinate ability. This allows you to search for a specific card feature, which can be helpful for completing objectives or working towards ecosystem cards. To germinate, spend 3 seeds, discard 1 card from your hand, and name 1 card feature. This feature must progress you towards either the ecosystem or fauna objectives, and a list of searchable features can be found in the rulebook. Once you've named your feature, flip the deck over and discard the top card one at a time until you've found one with the feature you've named. At this point, you must add that card to your hand and discard all other revealed cards. If you don't find any matches in the deck, search through the discard pile instead. If there are still no matches, the action fails and you can take back those 3 seeds. Unlike refreshing, you may germinate as many times as you can afford to do so. And with the actions out of the way, let's move on to activating your Tableau. After you've chosen one of the 2 actions printed on the tile, you may activate the card abilities in your Tableau that match the color of the action you've selected. For example, if you chose the red ability, you may then activate all red abilities on your cards. Keep in mind that multicolor abilities can be activated every round since they're made up of red, blue, and yellow colors. The abilities on each of your cards can only be activated once per round, and your Tableau must be activated in order, row by row, left to right, starting with the top left card. If a space in your Tableau is empty, or the card doesn't have the matching color, or if you simply wish to forgo activating a card's ability, just skip it and proceed to the next card. Each card is unique, but the abilities ultimately boil down to either gaining resources, converting resources, or additional in-game scoring opportunities. If at any point you're not sure what the icons mean, remember to check your player reference. And if you're still not sure, the rulebook has a detailed guide on interpreting abilities. Once you've finished activating your Tableau, it's time to move on to the final step. Remember that while the first 3 steps are meant to be taken simultaneously, this last step should be done sequentially to ensure everyone is on the same page. Begin by checking for completed fauna objectives. For each one you've completed, take one of your leaf tokens and place it on the highest available scoring space next to the card. If more than one player completes the same fauna objective in the same round, the players stack their leaf tokens on the same scoring space. This means the sooner you complete the objective, the more points you'll earn. After everyone has checked for fauna objectives, it's time to assign any sprouts you've received from other players. Some card abilities will instruct players to give their opponents a sprout token during the activation phase, which they'll need to set near their personal supply until this step. For each token you return to the supply, you should gain 1 sprout on a flora that has capacity. After this, it's time to take it from the top. Pass your cards to your left, draw back up to 7, and flip over the new action tile. Play should continue through 5 rounds, at which point each player will have a total of 9 cards planted in their Tableau. At the end of round 5, you'll move on to endgame scoring. So let's take a look at that now. Begin by tallying the base victory points on each card planted in your Tableau. This is denoted by the leaf icon in the upper right corner, and keep in mind that some cards are worth negative points. After tallying your victory points on your cards, you should now gain 1 point for each seed remaining in your personal reserve. Now let's add up your sprouts. Each sprout cube scores points equal to the space it occupies on the sprout track. In other words, 1 point per sprout you have. Next we have growth. If your plant has achieved its full height, denoted by a canopy, gain the point value listed on the bottom right side of the growth space. Otherwise, each trunk is worth 1 point. After that, you'll need to score each terrain card you have in your Tableau. Once you've scored those, gain the points indicated by the space your leaf tokens occupy on the fauna board. Any leaf tokens remaining in your personal reserve do not score anything. Finally, score both public ecosystems as well as your personal one. In the case of a tie, the victory goes to the tied player who has the most seeds remaining in their personal reserve. If the game is still tied, the victory goes to the tied player with the most growth pieces in their Tableau, then the highest sprout cube value, then whoever has earned the most victory points from terrains, then fauna, and then ecosystems. If somehow a tie still persists, the players share the victory. And that's all you need to know to play Earth Express. Start your timer and grab your watering can. It's time to see who can build a lush garden paradise and who will be living in a wasteland as you play Earth Express.